Hey everybody, it's Bust with Expedition Trial number 475. Let's see what shows up here. Okay, so I think we're stuck just perhaps drafting this Kennen. I just can't bring myself to draft the Bilgewater. It is like kind of interesting with Bilgewater seeing the Udyr cards get released. There's a lot of those combos that just deal damage to your opponent's Nexus to help you level up these gangplanks quicker. Could be something along these lines shortly that's interesting. At least I also think that these gangplank archetypes aren't just ruined by the likes of the lurkers. And so, yeah, maybe here in a week or two we'll be able to give Gangplank a shot, but it's not what we're going to mess around with here today. And then I feel like we've covered off on Shyvana pretty well through the current state of the archetype. Again, I'm not sure if elites or dragons would be the kind of number one archetype in the format. It's not really worth much of an argument, but Demacia is certainly the strongest faction in the game, and either elites or dragons within Demacia would be the strongest archetype in the game. And so that brings us back here to our little friend Kennen. Not a bad start with the Otterpuss and the Quicken, and let's see what we can pull off with this today. And so coming out of this Foxy Ninjas archetype, hate the name. The archetype's okay though, and let's see what lives in here. And so we are just over here at ftpbus.com. We'll just make our way to this little drop-down box, find the Kennen, and take a peek at what we're working with. And so, yeah, this would be very similar to the Ari Kennen archetypes that you're seeing in Constructed these days, trying to take advantage of these recalls, trying to come out here and turbocharge the Kennen flips and the Ari flips. It doesn't have the same strength to it that it does in Constructed, to where you're able to play like Kinku Wayfinders to search out Kennens and such, but it's still a reasonably powerful archetype here. And so if you are looking to pick up the Ionia champion in the second pack and then run with the recall kind of theme, I think you just kind of fall into an elusives deck, right? The kind of the big thing that you're going to see there is the kind of core build around card in Expedition in terms of the Ari Kennen archetypes is Navori Conspirator. And if you're going to build around Navori Conspirator, that leads to you wanting cards that let you play it on turn 2. And so you're going to try and stack up the Mourned, or you're going to try and stack up Navori Blade Scout and dancing droplets and the like. And so if you're just out here stacking all of these elusives, then you tend to just fall into an elusives deck. And so that's the way I typically see those style of decks going. If you're leaning towards building towards Kennen without Ionia, then you're really kind of limited in the recall kind of effects, right? You're just kind of stuck with like Quicken, right? There's not too many ways in Bandle City to send units back to your hand, and so if you draft the Bandle City Kennen, ignore the Ionia, then you're just kind of stuck with a go wide strategy, and so you have to come up with your best way to take advantage of Kennen being a cheap one cost quick attacker, whether or not that is kind of pivoting to drafting some of the Yordle themes. Or if you're going to look to say put together some kind of like Fishbones theme, if you want to try and get like quick attack challenges with Sharima, some different things that you can do. But if you want to go for like the core Kennen flip build around kind of thing, you have to be an Ionia. And so we'll see what turns up. I'm not opposed to going the Ionia route, or seeing if we can't assemble something a little bit more different, right? If we had a Bilgewater show up, we could oh man, who was my idea with Bilgewater? We had something there, and then it just slipped my mind as soon as we saw the packs come up. I saw this Sharima pack here with the Zerath and just lost track of where I was going with that. But yeah, we'll have to skip over the Zerath today. No buried sun discs for us. It's just impossible to trade out the Bandle City cards if you want to go that route. And so it brings us do we want to draft this Karma, which some of the tools I believe we'd be looking for do live within this Karma archetype, but it's not like the Total Recall, which would be the perfect fit for what we're looking to do with this Kennen. Or do we want to just kind of branch off into this Callista, where the combos don't really exist or live? I guess you could look to say like let's use this Chronicler of Ruin to resummon an ally, and those resummons are how we're going to get these Kennen flips going. But I don't think that that's realistically ever a valid strategy. And so I think we're the way that this would either fall is we can take this Callista and then just pivot into a Callista build around, which is fine. I don't particularly like it since they've gutted the Callista archetypes, but that would be a thing, right? You don't have to build around whatever you take in your first pack. Or we take this Enlightenment Karma and try to do the recall thing and build more towards the Kennen. And that's what I'm going to do with this. And so let's get this Karma pulled up as well. I know Enlightenment isn't the archetype that we want. I don't think there's going to be too much of use here either, which is a little bit unfortunate, right? If we take a look at the Total Recall Karma, I think this should just be the Ari archetype, but what do I know? But this like Total Recall Karma has all of the cards that we're actually looking for in these archetypes, right? If we're looking to build towards the Navori Conspirator, that pushes us towards things like Navori Blade Scout and these other cheap 1-drops. The Woodland Keepers here is another elusive. The Landmark lives in this thing, whatever it's called, Godwillow Seedling, and just all of the cards you could be really looking for live in this archetype. I have no idea why Riot would take Karma, which is trying to build towards the very end of the game and build towards the Enlightened themes, and leave her in Total Recall as they just print a champion that wants to see you flip, recall multiple cards. Like this is just, it literally says right on the card, you've recalled 6 units this game. Like why didn't they put Ari into the actual Total Recall archetype is beyond me. I think they realistically they should have just called Foxy Ninjas Total Recall and then just removed the Teemo archetype from the game. I don't know. It's not my call, man, but it seems like that would have been a real easy one for the intern to pull off. But at any rate, what are we doing here with this Enlightenment Karma? Realistically, not anything, right? It has Will of Ionia, which we would prefer to be Homecoming. It has Windsingers, which we tend to land on a lot of copies of, but not something that we really need to pursue. And it does at least have a high-powered Epic in the Empyrean, but this is just such a shitty archetype. It's really tough to ever get anything out of this. So hopefully we won't get hamstrung by Karma too much. That Total Recall archetype, though, does show you exactly what we're looking for, right? We want to pick up the elusives wherever we can, and we're going to kind of be a Navori Conspirator-based elusives deck. But coming out of this one, God, this scares me so much, having to pick up this Enlightenment pack. This just kind of ensures this is what we're going to be seeing the rest of the way. But the Empyrean is kind of the premier late game that we can be finding here. The way that these elusives decks tend to function is in the late game, our opponent just has a board full of stuff, right? We've been attacking with all these elusive units that they can't block. And so if we drop, a big 6-drop, so imagine Windsinger is like a 7/7, like a Yone or a Mina or something. They just block it with their smallest unit because you never killed it off. But the Empyrean does get to crush in since it has elusive on its own. And that's who we're going to be going with here. We will need to kind of focus a little bit on our early game, but great addition in the Empyrean. Here, these cards are all trash. We won't go into Freylord. I've been trying to hammer home how bad 3-faction decks are these days. Have no desire to take any of these. Safety Inspector is a card we're just never going to use here either. Right, this fits into that problem of being a late game card without elusive or overwhelm. And so that brings us back here to the Lookout and the Refuge. Always happy to have one copy of the Refuge. The Lookout's a little underpowered, but it's the best option that we have out of all of those. Okay, and so here we actually have multiple elusives to choose from. Yusari I do really like. This is one of the late game cards that we tend to find because the Empyrean is epic, the Windfarer Hatchling's epic. You can't really just go and get those, but Yusari being rare, it tends to make an appearance a few times throughout the draft. But I think I want to go a little bit cheaper here with the Woodland Keeper. Well, that's tough. Right, Ember Monk has a lot of those same problems as to where it can grow, but it can't actually deal damage. And so I'm curious if we should actually come over here and just take the pack with Memory Cloak in it in the Yusari. I guess I can get behind this. I don't really want the Ember Monk here. Just come out here and take these elusives where we can. All right, coming out of this one, not going for the Golden Aegis again. I won't jump into 3 factions. If you are going to do it, like this is one of those things that makes me kind of feel like we could pull it off. Like Golden Aegis is the kind of card I would be looking to splash here, but this is going to mess up a bunch of our picks later on throughout the draft. We're really, at the end of the day, wanting to do everything in our power to get either Greenglade Duo or to get Navori Conspirator. And having a bunch of Demacia cards show up doesn't do anything to help us to that end. And so the Aegis would be nice, but going to stay away from the 3rd faction. If we're getting a Charm, then I wanted to take the one with the Tornado Warrior. Just a little bit more reliable and a cheap play compared to the Pathless Ancient. And it can occasionally spike useful keywords. You can spike Challenger, you can spike Elusive. It comes into play on occasion. Not too often, but just on occasion. All right, coming into this one, just going to take the other elusive as it shows up. Thunderfist is pretty weak, but Woodland Keeper gives us the elusives that we're looking for. Okay, and then interesting in Yordles in Arms, right? This can be pretty powerful with the elusives. Like, I concede that we'll never play this for +4/+4, but giving all of our elusives a giant boost can end the game pretty quickly. And I think I'm on board with this. We aren't missing out on much, right? Horns of the Dragon doesn't have Overwhelm. Navori Highwayman's pretty garbage. I think this is okay. Okay, on to the next one. These are all terrible. This Inside of the Ages health potion. No one wants that ever. I'm just going to take the one here that has the 2 units in it. Deny is kind of meh. I don't really like this in Expedition. It's too tough to come across matchups to where this is useful everyone. I tend to find a lot of games where you just have to play it on the first target that you can because the number of targets is pretty low. So I'm just going to take the pack with the 2 units in it. Here, I think we can go with the Yordle Smith. Just no elusives turning up for us. This is a bit of a fail in terms of drafting for us, but kind of is what it is. Coming out here, found the Young Witch. Looks pretty good to me. Okay, what do we have here? Bandle Commando, the opposite side of the elusives, right? You get them out of the other faction. I think that's fine. This Gruff Grenadier, we're going to have to try and trade away, but like from out of all of these other packs, I don't want Lead and Follows. Stand United's fine, but I don't want 3 Spirit Refuges. The Bandle Commando is just the best out of all of these. All right, if we're gonna, oh man, it's always interesting when you see mentors turn up in your synergy picks because that just kind of means we might be able to pick up Poppy in our future packs, and I think that's what we really want to push here. Not opposed whatsoever to trying to put together Poppy elusives, and so a nice little addition for us with the Commando and the Smith, and another Bandle Commando down here to the right. Man, it's just like we're starting to pick up all of these Bandle City cards, but there's no way we can trade away enough Ionia to get an allegiance going. And here, yeah, I mean, why not put together the Zed Poppy elusives number that everyone wants to see? And so we tried, Kennen. We added you to our deck for a little bit, but we're going to switch our allegiance over here to Zed. Okay, so you know what time it is. We do have to go and pay the piper, pay to win fee. Let's take a peek at what exists out here. Maybe we'll get a Bandle City card that we just get to grab at common. Oh, not owned. What are we doing here? It seems like there's just way too many choices. Okay, and here we go. Tornado Warrior. You're going to be the one that we need today. Gotta maybe get him to come out here, pick up elusive. Looking pretty good. I don't believe that. Don't believe it when it says purchase failed. That doesn't... In my experience, that means that it actually worked. Okay. So yeah, this didn't quite come together how I was envisioning whatsoever, right? We didn't see a single Navori Conspirator. We didn't see a single Greenglade Duo. But we are kind of like close to pivoting over to this Poppy-style deck. I'm hoping that like with the addition of Zed, that we'll get to... just like more access to the elusives, right? There's tons of elusives in Discipline Zed. There's Greenglade Duos live over in Shadows and Dust. So hopefully we can just get some of those cards to turn up. All right, and what are we doing with this one? What is this, Teemo Callista? I would love to get a boost in with the Lookout, but it's just pretty easy for opponent to play like a decent blocker here. I'm just going to start with the Yordle Smith, and then maybe we'll get to use the Lookout next turn. Alright, he just didn't have a play. We would have gotten in for it this time, but I think it's okay. I think it's still much safer just to add the Yordle Smith. Callista coming down. She's here quick. I don't really want to, like, no value bounce the Spandal Painter. It kind of sucks. Alright, you got us, Callista. Can't even send her back with the Quicken. It's a little unfortunate. This would be so nice if we were able to play the Usari next turn because we'd hit with the Green Good Lookout. Kind of regretting not just going for it. Okay. Young Witch here to save the day. Works for me. Let's do this. Let's start off with the prank, just in case. Didn't hit anything relevant. Which one is this? -1 power and can't block. Let's just make the weaker Spirit Leech. But I was hoping to prevent a removal here. If he has like another Vile Feast or something along those lines, then this is fairly bad. Oh, he discards Spirit Leech. Interesting. Uh-oh, what is this? Why wouldn't you do this before combat? Maybe he just drew it? That would have to be the reasoning in my mind. Okay. I was going to say, I wonder if he opens on us. It's not horrible. We can gain a bunch of health with the Spirit's Refuge. I think we're just kind of stuck taking this on this one. Oh, of course we miss. Of course, because he's not premium. I know the way of the world. I know how this goes. I wonder how close we were. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10. We've been coin flipping. That's about as good as it's going to get. Okay, and of course here we're looking to do the barrier hook onto Callista. This should be fine. These other attacks are pretty good, at least coming from the Yordle Smith. If we attack with the Grenadier, he's going to get to trade with the Investigator, and I think that's okay. And the Vengeance, that's brutal. Okay. We didn't get the life gain. We didn't get the kill on Callista. That was just pretty much everything that could go wrong. I mean, I don't regret going for it. Vengeance is the only card that stops that play, right? If they're just playing the more standard style removal spells, it's not gonna do anything. Well, it would still do stuff. It's just in terms of being able to kill it, right? If he Mystic Shots there, we still get to take down the Callista. Alright, let's do our best to not die. Let's just play the Karma second. I think I'm going to just discard the Pompous Cavalier. It's not going to do anything here. Oh, well. I guess he was meant to be. Just discard it and immediately create another one. That's wild. Oh, sure. Okay. Well, not the greatest of starts, but hopefully we can continue to turn things around here as we immediately found a Green Glade duo. Perfect. I mean, this is exactly what I'm hoping to morph this deck into, is this Green Glade duo based elusives deck, and then hopefully we can pick up poppies. It's not like a requirement to pick up Poppy. Like, we should see Zed the rest of the way, right? We have Zed Karma as our champions. We should see them both. But I think Poppy will ultimately play better than Zed. It's so wild in terms of Zed. He used to just be like a clear-cut tier 1 champion that would win you multiple games on his own. But now that there's just like so many 4 health units running around, Zed is nowhere near as powerful as he used to be. But I would definitely not be opposed to just dropping him on 3. It's still one of the more powerful plays you can be making. Hey, and he shows up. What up, my dude? We were just talking about you. But I'm curious now, like, in terms of drafting Zed, if we should be more and more focused on finding that, like, inspired mentor kind of play, and if you have to do more of the actual, like, growing the Zed, turning him into more of like a mid-rangey style card, as opposed to in the past where we weren't really looking for inspired mentors. We play them because they were 1-drops, but it was never like a particularly important card to be finding. We'll see where this goes. I'm not sure if it was a mistake to not block the Saga Seeker, for the same kind of reasoning. If we need to keep this dum-dum at 3 health so Zed can attack through it, are we, upset that we didn't put the point of damage on it with the Otterpuss? I mean, it feels better now that he's added a gem. The gem would just heal that point of damage anyways, but I'm kind of curious as to where we stand in terms of our Zed here. But with this board now, we're just hoping for the big blowout, right? If he plays the gem this turn, which I'm really surprised he isn't. If you're wanting to level your Pantheon, you need to get these spells going every turn. But then I was going to say, if he drops like a Zenith Blade now, and if we're able to send the Saga Seeker back to his hand with Quicken while he has Zenith Blade on the stack, that would be just a incredibly good turn of events for us. See, because now we run into this awkward space as to where we need to like get on board, but we can't have this like Saga Seeker hanging around next turn. I guess it doesn't matter. He has 2-3 health units and he can just ace a Zed either way. But kind of tough. Looks good to me. Actually hit elusive on the Tornado Warrior. That's wild. We didn't get it when we when we didn't need it. All right, let's see how he responds. And if he has like if he drops the Saga Seeker and has a Pale Cascade, then the Zed can't really do anything. So if he drops the Saga Seeker, I'll play Prank, see what we turn up. And if we hit like a Pale Cascade, then maybe we'll attack with Zed. But I just can't decide if we would have rather just played the Bandle Commando, since it's kind of a guaranteed good play. Mm-hmm. Stand together. All right. It's like we stand together is actually kind of like a positive one for him to play, in that he would be trading his 3 mana for our 3 mana Zed. And, oh, we spiked the good one. He didn't have anything to do. Excellent. But still, my expectations here for Zed are pretty low. That was nice that we got to get that 3 chunk in and take the blocker off of the board, but I really don't expect a lot out of him this game. I like seeing an opponent tap out, though. He still has this stand together. Could get the Saga Seeker up to 5 health. I'm leaning towards like just seeing what we can do with getting some width. It's like I want to drop the Owlcat, We can definitely block the Saga Seeker with the Owlcat. We'll take some damage, but we get to spew on a bit more health into him. Would you rather just do it like this? I think so. See if he stands together. Well, he can't stand together because it costs 5.
Mama's home.
Okay, so now we can play Usari and that'll fill out our board. Ooh, Spirit's Refuge though. That's kind of interesting. I think I like it.
Serving lead. Let's cook 'em.
Can't do both, right? That's 9 mana to play Usari and the Refuge will only have 7. But if the extent of this turn is like a stand together and we just get a big chunk of health out of his units and gain some, I think this is fine. I think what'll be interesting is if he puts his Saga Seeker or his 5/4 in front of Zed. So I guess it doesn't really matter either way. I just want to see his 5/4 have like 2 health or less at the end of the turn.
Are you the one?
I was contemplating like how much we care about playing the barrier, but if we play the barrier, the single combat's actually going to kill his Ibex. I'm pretty happy with this. We also get to gain 6 health off of the Zed because of this attack. I like it. So I mean, we're not taking down the Saga Seeker. We are losing our Zed at the end of the day, but again, the Ibex is gone. We gain 6 and go up to 20. And he's still like limited to this one Saga Seeker. Yeah.
This painting gonna be great.
Much better hit than the previous game. Shark Trainer's pretty decent here. Generate these big old boys in the shark tooths. Is his Pantheon going to be flipped yet? Oh, he's only at 3. That's kind of nice. Opens with Chain Vest and then plays Laurent Protege. Okay. He's a big boy. You can have like some amount of scary tricks here. You could have like Riposte or whatever, but the way this game is sequenced out, I don't really feel like this guy has combat tricks. Right, he's only got 1 mana. What would be the worst? The worst he could have would be a Radiant Strike. Okay. Let's keep dropping that damage in where we can. Middle of Ionia. It feels nice. We're not going to use it here, but you know, whenever he finally picks up that Pantheon, if we're able to send him away, it could be very nice.
Peace is a trail painted with blood. Strength and grace, beauty in the blade.
He's a big boy. Now that we have the board like this, I think we don't worry about winning combats here, right? We're never going to have like a good attack here because he just has infinite blocks on the trainer. Everything dies to the Usari. So let's just get in for 6. Try to not die. And then next turn, you know, we have this Will of Ionia if we need to bounce something, and then this leaves 6 elusives on the board to try to kill with next turn. I think it's okay. We actually lethal this turn? We don't have the mana for the Will of Ionia, but I didn't stop to think if we could send back whatever was blocking our Overwhelmer. I thought this guy had to attack. I'm not too familiar with playing these shark trainers. I guess we could have stopped to read it, but when allies attack, spend 1. I'm glad we learned it here as opposed to later when it could have been a little more relevant. Okay.
Onward to death I go.
Sure. Really surprised he's not trying to hook in our elusives. Feels like he's just given up here. Sure. Very odd. Right, he's just... Like, he doesn't know that we have the Empyrean. The Empyrean should be enough to just lock this game down, but very surprised he didn't hook kill our Usari as opposed to Short Tooth or whatever he was called. Exactly why we like the Empyrean. Exactly. We've got this board of Usari and 2 other elusive dudes. Our opponent has a bunch of blockers. Just if we're playing something that doesn't have elusive or overwhelm there, just doesn't have the chance to end the game. The cool Poppy. Nice. Called it and hit. Excellent. So she has the Bandle Commando as another elusive. Keeper's Verdict is fine. It's not the best bit of interactivity, but our interactivity right now is just limited to this single Will of Ionia, so it's nice to have something. Cool. All right. No goose eggs today. So yeah, hope you all enjoyed the Super Bowl out there. I haven't got to watch it yet because it hasn't happened. Making the video before the Super Bowl runs around, but I'm hoping for the Bengals victory. I give it like a 2-to-1 shot. I feel like this is a 66% favorite for the Rams to win, but certainly a winnable game for the Bengals. I've got my closest to Bengals support I can bring in the Marshall shirt on today, and so the Bengals were the closest pro team to the Marshall, and so there was a lot of fans in the area. I never was one, but you know they need some help. It feels like it has to have been miserable to be a Bengals fan for the past couple of decades, and so they can have their time in the sun. Okay, back to the action here. What is this, some kind of Slayers thing? That's what it looks like. Kindred, Nasus, Renekton. Absolutely fine. Let's drop these Bandle Commandos down and see how quickly we can fill out this board. Just no interactivity, anyone. None of that stuff. Just get all these units on board. Say no touching each other. No touching. All right, so we'll drop the Owlcat. The idea with these boards now is we want to play Poppy, and then after our opponent attacks, right? Well, he's dropped Renekton. It is kind of scary though. He has 1 mana, right? That 1 mana can lead into being a exhaust. So I don't think I want to play Poppy this turn. We'll probably have to wait 2 turns from now, but I think that's okay. Let's just go ahead and drop the Grenadier and see what happens. I was going to say, we'll probably miss the Allegiance. If he has the exhaust, I'd rather him take down the Grenadier than take down Poppy. Oh, he hits a Bandle Commando. Interesting. Okay. That could have gone much worse. Then I still don't want to add Poppy to this board. We have more Bandle Commandos. They can come out and continue to do their thing. wonder if, like, we're so good at, like, filling our board back up here. I kind of want to just attack with everything.
On the job.
Serving lead?
Let's come in this way. If like, his ideal block is going to be on the Grenadier, so let's limit the amount of damage it can set forth. So we can't profitably block either of these dum-dums, but we're going to have this full board and then the Poppy next turn. It feels like we might be like a little bit too small, but see. We'll see. And then do we want to go ahead and prank him? I think it's okay. What are we at? 1, 2, 3. We'll have 6 mana next turn. The units we want to play will be Poppy and Yordle Smith. Yeah, let's prank. We're not going to have the spell mana to do anything anyways. Can Piercing Darkness, but it doesn't seem like he's going to want to do that. But let's make him spend a whole turn if he wants to play the Piercing Darkness. So he's going to flip his Renekton, right? He's going to send Renekton into the Bandle Commando. We could Spirit's Refuge this to keep him from flipping. Just not sure how relevant that is. All right. It's like, I think we'll just want the Spirit's Refuge for Poppy next turn.
If you want something done right, let me do it.
I don't feel better about hitting this Piercing Darkness. This would feel pretty terrible if we played Poppy and he just hit her with Piercing Darkness. Oh shit, this is going to be bad, isn't it? I mean, this has to work. We're never winning this game without this Poppy boosting our whole team. If he has a removal here, we're just done.
I'll make you proud.
But we're at the point where just like something has to go right, and this wasn't it. Okay. Yordles in Arms is about as good of a follow-up as we could find. And man, look at that. We're pretty close to... we can't cast another region, though, right? We just have... we've already done Ionia. We have 3 Ionias in hand.
Where'd she go? Please, Mom.
All right. Maybe something will come of this. Doubt it. We're so far away from lethal, I can't imagine too much coming out of this, but this is our shot. Yeah, this would have been so primo if we had the Poppy on board. An opponent's just passing again? That's where they're going to Piercing Darkness? It's just so tiny. doesn't feel like enough of nearly anything. Sure. So we're just wanting to make all of his blocks bad except the Renekton block, right? So I want to make this a 3-attack thing. We'll just hit normally with everyone else. So this way, if he blocks with either of his smaller units, they're just going to die. And then if he blocks with Renekton, we can't get a kill. But the things on these smaller units are what we're mainly interested in here. Yeah, this isn't lethal. It's a bit unfortunate. Because we don't have any units sizable enough to block a Bakai Reaper. But, I mean, this is all the difference between having Poppy and not having Poppy. If we had her on board, we could get something going. Without her, we're just kind of hosed. I mean, I guess we could have waited until this turn to be like, oh, well, I've got Poppy with the Spirit's Refuge backup, but you really need to be like attacking with her and then protecting her in combat with the Spirit's Refuge so she doesn't just die. Just weren't able to do that here. But there is still some stuff we could draw. Like if we pick up like a Quicken, or, well, Quicken won't do it, but if we pick up a bounce spell for this Bakai Reaper, we might actually be okay. Renekton's going to be a little on the big side of things. Yeah, nothing we can do. Okay. That's all right. We're still in the process of trading into our real deck, so maybe we'll get some additional good boosts here. We didn't, but I think I want this Quicken over the Grenadier, right? We are like getting to be more of a Bandle City deck, but we're just never going to hit the Allegiance on this thing. We've played it, what, like 3 times now and missed every single time, and that's, I guess we played it twice, but it's a, just a coin flip at best, and not really interested in that. He's just not good enough if you miss. But not good enough. Here's my hot take prediction on what's going to happen this evening in the Super Bowl. And so, the first half, the Bengals are going to get the Aaron Donald treatment. It's going to be just a defensive nightmare for the Bengals. Their offensive line has historically just been pure garbage, and I feel like that's going to continue. But everyone's going to be super hype. The Bengals are going to fall down like 17-3 or so. It's not going to be impressive whatsoever. They're going to make a monster comeback in the second half. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be kind of like a top ball game. That's not as exciting. Let's do this. Let's say the Bengals are going to be they're going to be down by 2. They have the amazing opportunity to catch a field goal to seal the Super Bowl, and then that kicker that never misses is just going to miss. I feel like this is like the most Bengals thing that could happen for the Bengals is if they just fail early like everyone expects, and then things start to turn around. They fall back to their guy that never fails, who ultimately just fails right at the end. That's my hot take. You heard it here first, and what's going to happen in the Super Bowl. So when you all are watching this video as it airs, you will know good and well how right I was. But alrighty, this is looking a little scary here. This is just like not a good start. We don't have the tools to like grow against these decks, and we're just gonna have to throw away like tons of cards into the likes of Ruined Dragon Guards here. And like, what are we realistically gonna have happen here? Is like we want to add the Green Glade Lookout, and then we're gonna try and make an attack here. But it's just like, I guess we can add Bienemone. But what I'm suspecting is going to happen here is he's just going to like play Shyvana. So, okay. It's like we're not going to find the space where we get to attack with both of these units, but just like attacking with Green Glade Lookout isn't enough. So it's like I think we just have to get a full board and see if we can't get a good Yordles in arms now. Might be able to get a bit of a tempo game going here, but I was going to say maybe he'll drop a Confront on Shyvana, and then we'll get to play a bounce spell. It's pretty decent. He can replay her here, but then it's like if he replays her and we get to pop her again with the Windsinger or something, that's not like the most horrible thing that could happen.
If you want something done right, let me do it.
He replays, okay.
Monsters with heart are still monsters.
And interesting in the Spirit's Refuge, so we don't even have to like hit him with the tempo here. We can just try and Spirit's Refuge out of this combat. Let's see where that gets us. say like the Dragon Guard in front of Bienemone and then the Shyvana in front of Yordlesmith.
See how you like it.
But we need to do something to keep our width here so that we can get this Yordles and arms going. Like if he didn't like physically have confront there. He had succumb to the cold. Sure, he had the Shyvana flip. So he may not have this kind of like the interactivity he would want here. I feel especially better that he just played. He didn't play a single combat within that combat there. That should be pretty decent for us.
Like a storm, I bring change.
Now his attacks aren't good, right? We can just block Shyvana with our Windsinger.
I'll show you. Big shuriken cyclone quickness.
All right, and so this is like the big turn, I think. Do we open to where his blocks with Shyvana are pretty bad across the board? But we don't have any way to interact with this. I think this is good.
As we practice, team.
It just seems like too slow to be dropping Yordles and arms here. I'm hoping that we get to just like chunk in some big damage. And then maybe next turn we'll have like a Woodland Keeper and we'll have a Bandle Commando and get to Yordles and arms those. And we just get to finish this game off with an elusive attack, right? Because he's not going to want to block with his Shyvana here. He's going to take some amount of damage and lose some board. And so I think we should be able to get some time here. Yeah, that's great. Just lost one unit. Took him to 8. We have 6 damage of elusive and board, if you will, between the Woodland Keeper. I like it. Definitely sending away this Radiant Guardian with the Keeper's Verdict. You have no business here. Oh no, this is going to be the single combat. That's so brutal if he finally has it now. We could have done it. We could have done the Keeper's Verdict first. Oh my gosh, is this how bad is this going to be? Okay, I'm pivoting. Okay, you can still do it, but make that single combat cost 6. That was going to be savage if he got to single combat with the Radiant on the stack. Mega Inferno Bomb. Oh man.
Scars to prove it.
I think, I mean, Mega Inferno Bomb doesn't go face, right? Enemies are just the units on board. So, I mean, he can hook our Karma, which is fine. Just we're short on killing with the Woodland Keeper still. And so it's like, do we want to just... Like, I don't see how we can ever crawl back through this Radiant Guardian. I think we just have to do what we can on this board. So let's send that away, or at least attempt to send it away. Can still do a 6-mana single combat here, but I think this is at least a start for us to do something. But we definitely can't let this hit twice. Like a single combat, he's going to take down Karma, fine. But that's the start. Yep, never blocking. Never any of this stuff. So, well, I'm surprised he didn't hook our Tornado Warrior and then try to hit with the Shyvana as well.
Find that hero.
Uh-oh. Is this enough? How much is this? 6 and 4? It's a little short. Oh. Alright, we got to take it a little slow. That's a good start. That's a good start. Now his Took down 2 units. His dum-dum is gone. We get to attack with just the elusive here. He's not going to get to gain any more health. Oh. Okay, he didn't play the Golden Aegis. I think that's where we're still going to struggle against this Radiant. We need a Quicken or a Bounce spell or something so we don't have to interact with it. Charm has focus. That's unfortunate. So, if he's going to be at 12, we can recall the Woodland Keeper, then follow up with the Empyrean. As long as we're just setting our, as long as we don't die here, right? Okay, so he's going to attack with the Broodmother. We're going to block it with something. And he's, oh no, he's gonna kill us because of the Golden Aegis rally. Fuck. So if he's at 12, this is just 10. Because the other option is like, well, what if we Yordles in arms now, right? Fuck. Forgot about this rally. He's going to hit with everything, hook both of our units, then gets to come in for 11. God damn it. So this kills his dragons, and we get to play one more unit and block something else. Ah, damn. Are you serious? He just didn't attack? I don't know. Okay. Maybe he disconnected or something, but we have we have our lethal here if he doesn't have anything in hand to try and stop it. I mean, he's still got this Golden Aegis. He can rally and... Oh my god, we might have just done it. What? Are you serious? Like, he can rally now, but that's too slow. He has to have a single combat or something. If we win this game, we most certainly didn't deserve it, but... Fuck me. You don't deserve all of them, right? Well, I'm not getting my hopes up. It's just too easy for him to have a single combat or a frostbite or something, and he hasn't conceded in the face of what's going on here, and so we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, sure. But you know, if we'd had a Memories Cloak here or something, we still could have won that game. It's just, I don't know what opponent was thinking there passing the turn. That seems like the worst play of the day. I'm just gonna chalk that up to them being a little click happy and passing on the turn, but a little unfortunate. And so this draft was tough, right? Everything that you need to go well with this deck just didn't happen. Again, if you're looking to draft like the Kennen decks plus Ionia, you have to find those early game elusives, and we just didn't see any the whole draft. We took every single Navori Conspirator we saw, which was 0, and we took every single Greenglade Duo we saw, which was 0, and then even kind of the ancillary style elusives that you don't have to have but kind of want, like the Greenglade Lookout or the Greenglade Navori Blade Scout, Blade Master, whatever the one cost one is, didn't see any. Dancing Droplets, we didn't see any. And so, like, in terms of that, it's like, well, okay, that didn't come together. So what else are we supposed to be doing here? And so the kind of backdoor equation thing would be this go wide Bandle City style thing, as to where you have the Yordle Explorer to boost your Yordles. Didn't see any. Then you have things like Yordle Captain. I think he's the one that's called, where it gives, if you play a smaller unit, it gives +1/+1. Didn't see any. And then we saw the singular copy of Yordles in arms. And so, like, what are you supposed to do? This is just kind of like the ultimate low roll of what could be happening with these decks. And it's like we were getting like pretty close to being a real deck, right? We got rid of the Kennen, which wasn't going to do anything, right? We just didn't see any of the recall cards. Like, I'm curious if we go back through the draft, like what recall cards we even saw. Like, I know we saw Charms a few times. We probably saw a Homecoming, but we just forgot about it. And I don't think we saw any of those, the Landmark, or maybe we saw like one of the Landmark, but those certainly aren't what you're out here trying to like build around. And so I think we did the best that we could with what we were shown here. We were like getting close, right, as the Kennen turned into a Zed. That was an upgrade. We won a game and picked up a Poppy. That was great. The Poppy had Bandle Commando in the pack, so that kind of helped push forth this elusive theme. We picked up the Green Glade Duo for something, and so it was like this deck was starting to become real, but it's just like nothing ever turned up for this to become anything, right? I mean, I guess this is like the argument that someone could make for why you would want to draft a good card strategy as opposed to trying to build something thematically. But these decks that we put together like rarely bomb this hard. And if you're trying to draft like good cards, you want nothing to do with Enlightenment Karma. And so you are kind of like hamstringing yourself from the start with Enlightenment Karma. I think that's where we ended up with maybe like 1 or 2 picks. Like, well, that's where the Windsinger Empyrean came from. But that was probably our only pick throughout the remainder of the draft. It was. And so that is, one of the downsides to Enlightenment Karma is you're really only getting 66% shots on those synergy picks for having playable cards. I remember seeing the Karma flip card, whatever that is, the thing that gives you a random spell plus health potion. That is the high quality thing that you can find out of Enlightenment Karma. But you could see, like, from the Total Recall pack, though, where things could go extremely well. Just all of the cards that we're looking for in terms of Ionia living in Total Recall, and then just the complete turd that is Enlightenment. And so, kind of is what it is. But I think we did at least hit all the highlights on what you're looking for in these Kennen and RE decks. If you've been playing Constructed and you're familiar with what's happening there and the commonalities from there into Expedition, you can't pull off the Allegiance style stuff. That just doesn't really work. You're counting on your big flip kind of things happening from the Navori Conspirator. That's the key one, and then the Landmark is still okay. With the Landmark, I exit out on the Expedition Helper because there's only like specific cases to where I think it's good. If you have a bunch of Conchologists, which is odd, we saw 0 of, then it tends to be pretty decent. And if you have a bunch of Greenglade Elders, that's the one that gives all the units in your hand +1/+1, it tends to be pretty decent. And if you have a stack of Greenglade Duos, then fine. But it's not like a Mastercraft kind of card for a Greenglade Duo. And so it can be okay, but if you aren't hitting those specific circumstances, then it tends to be bad, right? It's pretty easy for Bandle City to just go super wide as it is. It tends to like clog up the board and give you these awkward board states to where you need to overwrite it, or you need to play it, but you don't have the board space, or even if you did have the board space, it's going to be pretty low impact. I think if you can kind of recognize, oh yeah, I have 4 Conchologists, I would like to play some more of those, then the Landmark probably has a home. But otherwise, I recommend that you kind of try and avoid it. But otherwise, Navori Conspirator style deck leading into elusives, or go wide Bandle City deck with the Yordle boosters and the unit boosters. Both of those are fine with Kennen. It was just a bit of a low roll in the happenings today. So wish we could have done some more for you, but maybe the low roll for today will turn into some excitement in the Super Bowl this evening. I will make the sacrifice for you. We will have a bad trial. The Super Bowl in turn will be fantastic, and so you're welcome. the sacrifice I'll make just for all the viewers out there. So let's see. We did have a reward there. We hit the 7 win on this earlier, so we got the full set of rewards, and that is probably going to do it. And so, as far as I'm aware of, for the new cards and what's upcoming, they released the Gnar support cards today, and then we should be seeing Gnar, I guess, tomorrow, which will be Monday for you all, and then I believe they typically release the full spoiler on Tuesday. That would be let's see. Where are we at? Let me see if we can get these dates right. I have like my timing today, but you all don't get to watch this until the 14th. And so the 14th, happy Valentine's Day. Don't forget to buy your significant other something. That's when we should see Gnar. Maybe that's what your significant other wants. You can just talk about the Gnar release and how excited you are for the Freylord Bandle City pairing. You can just talk about the memes with. I didn't notice it on the Udyr where it says it's and they put the apostrophe in there and said they just used the wrong one. Small indie company. Don't expect them to do grammar good, but. The Gnar release should be on the 14th. I think they give out the full spoiler on the 15th. There's usually a few additional cards that don't make the cut in terms of what they spoil. And then on the 16th, the new cards will come out. And as I mentioned in the previous one, it's really awkward timing for me as a content creator that if I want to get out here and do all the expeditions, then I have to just get the 3 trials a week. That's fine. But you have that 20-minute draft blocker when the new at the end of the week, and so if I want to cancel out a draft and look for new champions, I have to wait 20 minutes in between, and so it's not like super likely that on the 17th we'll get a new champion, but starting after that, hopefully we can assemble some of them moving forward, and so. Nice little picture of things coming up. I'm pretty hyped for the new set. I like Freylord. I like a lot of the stuff in Freylord. I think we should be having some good fun with it. But that is going to do it for us today. I hope you learned how to navigate the bad drafts as opposed to just the good ones. You maybe learned a thing or two along the way. Had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.